Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 34. Tonight we're going to talk all Tigers tonight. A 1-0 loss to the Rays in rare fashion, but not as rare as you think. Their offense continues to sputter after scoring 14 runs in their first two games of that series. Despite David Price's solid effort. Also, we're going to get to some Rusney Castillo news. Got an update on that, plus an update on Evan Reed's charges that were just dismissed. But first, David Price only gave up a run, didn't walk any, struck out 9, took a rare loss. He's 12-9. He pitched 8 innings flat. Alex Cobb got the win, pitching 7 innings flat. He should have pitched a complete game, in my opinion. Only gave up 2 hits. Didn't give up any runs, actually, because it was a 1-0 shutout. He walked 2, but he struck out 6. Some very poor hitting. I don't know if they were tired or something, but Miguel Cabrera should not have played, considering how tired he was and beat up with his ankle after last Wednesday night. All right. Sorry, I had to adjust my desk. It's falling apart. Jake McGee got the save in the 9th inning after Brad Boxberger earned a hold after giving up just 1 hit. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 2. McGee gave up a long single to Miguel Cabrera with 1 out, but that was it. Suarez committed a throwing error in the bottom of the first, and it proved costly because Brandon Guyer drove in Ben Zobrist with a triple in that inning, and that was the only run in the contest. And there's been too many games where the Tigers played well and lost like 1-0 or 2-1. And in my mind, that's not playing well at all. Only pitching is never enough without any offense. That's got to be very disappointing That reminds me of the 2003 Detroit Tigers having lost that way like over 100 times. Their offense back then was pathetic. Dimitri Young, Bobby Higginson, Damian Easley being released earlier in the season, Alex Sanchez, Jeremy Bonnerman, Mike Maroth. All that news. Oh, man. David Price threw 100 pitches, faced 26 batters. Cobb faced 24. And pitched up through 101 pitches. 73 of Price's 100 pitches were strikes, and Cobb threw 62 strikes. The Tigers only hit into one double play, which still proved costly. The game took 2 hours, 34 minutes, an attendance of 19,189. The Tigers can't lose in such a 1-0 game against a Rays team that is not doing as well as they should be. The Rays are in 4th place in the American League East Division, and the Tigers are now, with that loss, a game and a half behind the Kansas City Royals in the American League Central Division. And checking the wild card standings here. The Mariners also had off, in addition to the Royals having off. So the Tigers also fall. So the Tigers, says in the American League wildcard standings, the Tigers are still ahead of the Mariners by a half game. That's right. They were one game ahead of the Mariners in the wildcard standings going into Thursday afternoon's game. Now they're a half game ahead. Gotcha. So the Mariners had off. The Tigers lost 1-0. That just sums it up. So the Tigers go into Minnesota and play the Twins in a 4-game series Friday through Sunday at Target Field. Robbie Ray will pitch in the first of 4. The 4-game series includes a Saturday doubleheader. I'll get to that in just a bit. But Robbie Ray, 1-3 with a 5.33 ERA, takes on Tommy Malone with an 0-1 record and a 9.82 ERA. A 9.82 ERA. The Tigers should be able to get to him if they start figuring out how to provide offense more fundamentally. They got to protect the plate better instead of taking too many strikes and swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. And then the Saturday doubleheader, first of two on that day, will begin at 1:10. And then the second of two is at 8:10. Pino will pitch the first game for the Twins, and May will take them out in the second game for Minnesota. The Tigers pitchers have yet to be determined, but Justin Verlander and Buck Farmer according to many fans and media, say that Verlander and Farmer will pitch in the doubleheader individually in each game. And then on Sunday at 2:10, Max Scherzer will take on Kyle Gibson. Scherzer's 14-4 with a 3.07 ERA, and Gibson is 11-9 with a 4.13 ERA. Friday night's game will be aired on the radio on 97.1 The Ticket's sister station, WXYT AM 1270, the sports station. That's CBS Sports Radio 1270, WXYT AM. But the other three games in Minnesota will be on 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, WXYT FM, and HD1. So the Twins are already out of it, in our opinion. The Tigers should sweep the Twins 4 straight, and fans expect them to. We all do. The Tigers are, especially because the Tigers are trying to catch the tough Kansas City Royals, who lead the Tigers by a game and a half in the American League Central Division, like I mentioned before. Tigers are also looking for more offense. They are still a top runner. to claim Cuban outfielder Rusney Castillo, according to ESPN, in Boston. The Red Sox and Tigers, written by Gordon Eads, appear to be the front runners for the services of Cuban outfielder Rusney Castillo. Two league sources said Thursday, with a decision expected no later than the weekend. The Red Sox would like to add Castillo to an outfield that already includes another Cuban defector, Yoenis Cespedes, which is meaningless because the Red Sox are in last place in the American League East Division. And that's it for the Red Sox. The Tigers, who have fallen behind the Kansas City Royals in the American League Central Division, the first place Royals, by a game and a half, are looking for a replacement for center fielder Austin Jackson, who was traded to the Seattle Mariners as part of the three-way deal in which Detroit acquired left-handed ace starting pitcher David Price from the Tampa Bay Rays last month. See, all of that side, the Tigers side of this, means a lot more. The Red Sox are out and the Tigers are still in the hunt. They need Castillo a lot more than the Red Sox do, than the Red Sox need him. The Red Sox claim they need him, but not for as big of reasons as the Tigers have for needing Castillo. The Tigers are 10-10 since that trade, with Price losing 1-0 to the Rays on Thursday despite allowing just one hit and no earned runs. Manager Brad Ausmus has been using Rajai Davis and Ezekiel Carrera in center field in Jackson's place. Castillo is viewed as being close enough to the big leagues that a contender that signs him this month could have been realistic visions of having him on its roster this October. The Tigers have been to the World Series twice in the previous 8 years, but lost both times. First to the Cardinals in 2006, then to the Giants in 2012. They have not won a World Series in 30 years. They beat the San Diego Padres in 5 games in 1984, and owner Mike Ilitch is 85 and in declining health, giving their quest even greater urgency. See, all of that information is about as meaningful as the center fielder situation. Right there. Clubs involved in the bidding, according to ESPN.com's Jason Stark, believe Castillo ultimately will sign a 5-year contract in the range of $50 million to $60 million. That would rank as the second largest deal ever signed by an amateur player from Cuba or any other country, behind only Jose Abreu's 6-year, $68 million contract with the Chicago White Sox. Castillo, at age 27, has attracted the interest of a number of teams since his defection from Cuba last December. He established residency in Haiti last spring, and he held a public workout in Florida last month that was attended by 28 of the 30 major league clubs. At 5'9" and 185 pounds, Castillo isn't a pure masher in the mold of Abreu or Cespedes, but his power-speed combo has drawn comparisons to Andrew McCutchen of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Yasiel Puig of the Los Angeles Dodgers. This was updated like 2 hours ago, actually. Although he played the infield at times in Cuba and took ground balls at shortstop during his workout, his best position is center field, and that's where the teams pursuing him are likely to play him. The Tigers, most of all. Because he is older than 23 and played 5 seasons professionally in Cuba, he is exempt from international signing bonus pools. Castillo is represented by Jay-Z's Rock Nation Sports. Moving on to something that's a little related to the Tigers here. Detroit Tigers relief pitcher Evan Reed has been dismissed of his sex assault charges by the judge earlier today. The judge says Evan Reed's accuser wasn't credible and that it wasn't proven that she was incapacitated. Evan Reed quoted, "I'm just extremely happy. I can have all my focus on baseball again," unquote. He said that outside the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice after the case was dismissed. He was accused of raping a 45-year-old woman the morning of March 30th while she was unable to consent in a hotel room at Motor City Casino. He faced 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. The woman testified for about an hour and a half today, including graphic details of what she recalled after waking up. Surveillance video from the casino shows a woman falling off a sidewalk, landing on her back in a street before Reed carries her into the building, an investigator testified today. Video clips showed it taking about 12 minutes for the two to get from a taxi to the door of the building at 1:51 a.m. But 36th District Court Judge Kenneth King said there was no evidence presented to indicate she was raped before she woke up the next morning when the allegations were to have occurred. Reed and the woman met the night before at the Fifth Avenue, a bar in Royal Oak, where the woman testified she was drinking Grey Goose and tonics, where she joined Reed and his friends at a booth. After her third drink, she began to feel strangely, with people sounding, quote, robotic to her, like she was in another world, unquote, according to Reed's accuser as she testified. Well, after 3 drinks, that's when you start to feel weird. You're drunk. Well, normally, but with many people around you, including Evan Reed, if you're the accuser or the victim, you're in such a precarious spot. King said the woman backtracked and gave vacillating testimony. First saying she wasn't aware she was sitting at a booth with Detroit Tigers players, but later admitting to texting her friend from the booth that she was in fact with the Tigers. She had plans to attend opening day on March 31st and had Tigers-themed nail polish, but when defense attorney Ben Gonick asked whether she knew she was at the booth with Tigers pitcher Jabba Chamberlain, she said she didn't. While testifying, the woman also charged her account of when a drink at the bar tasted strangely. King said, though she claimed she wasn't of the presence of mind to take the elevator when leaving the hotel, she appeared okay enough to walk down 6 floors of the stairs. King quoted, "She wasn't wobbling, she wasn't falling, she wasn't stumbling, and she was wearing high heels." I'll bet she looked attractive there. But, unquote. Anyway, Thursday's hearing was a preliminary examination where the judge was tasked with determining whether there was probable cause to believe a crime was committed and that Reed committed it. That's even less proof than it takes to win a lawsuit, said Peter Henning, a former federal prosecutor who teaches law at Wayne State University. Peter Henning stated, "It's the same probable," and I quote, "it's the same probable cause as issuing a warrant, which is not a very high threshold." He added that it's rare but not unprecedented to see such cases dismissed at this stage. If there is some evidence to back up her claim, usually that is passed on to the circuit court for a jury trial. Unquote. An earlier unusual development in the case was Reed's attorneys holding a press conference after arraignment where they opened the floor and let media ask Reed questions directly. He said then that he did nothing wrong and that the sex was consensual. Maria Miller, a spokeswoman for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, said in a statement Thursday, "At this time, a decision has not been made regarding an appeal of the dismissal of the case. It will be announced at a later date." The woman in Thursday's testimony recounted with a detail a revolting scene the morning of March 30th after she'd woken up. She said she was in bed with Reed, both of them nude, and the sheets were stained. She quoted, "Everything was spinning, my head was hurting. I remember getting up and kind of holding onto the wall and going into the bathroom." She had unquote, "She had bruises on her arms, knees, ankles, and more." Then she remembers being in the shower where she says Reed starting having sex with her. She told him to stop, and he stopped, she said. Asked why she didn't physically resist, she said, quote, "I didn't even have the strength. I was like a rag doll," unquote. She said she returned to bed and closed her eyes only to have Reed initiate oral sex, which she refused, she said. She would later tell a friend that she thought she'd been gang raped the night before, but she couldn't remember anything. The woman said she remembers Reed talking to her shortly after she started waking up the first time. She said, quote, "He sounded robotic, like far away," unquote. Reed's attorneys, Ben Gonick and David Gorsica, passed out packets to the media that appeared to be filed by the woman's ex-husband in a 2008 divorce case, including allegations that attack her character. The woman said during her testimony that her ex-husband banging on her door the day after the alleged incident with Reed. The ex-husband contacted Detroit police and arranged for her first meeting with them to report the alleged crime, she said. The woman said she went to St. Joseph Hospital and later Royal Oak Haven House to get a rape kit conducted. She said she demanded a blood test, but was told date rape drugs would probably already be out of her system. Prosecutors didn't present any DNA evidence in the case, and King took note of the lack of such evidence in making the dismissal. But Reed had already said that they had consensual sex. Witnesses called by prosecutors today, including a coat checker at the Fifth Avenue bar where Reed and the woman met, as well as the maintenance worker from the casino and the investigator who testified when the surveillance video was played. Reed's parents were in court for the preliminary hearing, which lasted most of the day. His father, Dave Reed from Quincy, California, said he's been so proud watching his son build his career in the major leagues. Dave stated, quote, "When he gets to the top of that pyramid, it took so much work to get to that point. Then to have that taken away by false accusations, it was devastating," unquote. Reed said the Tigers never once left me hanging during the past several months the case was pending. "I'm very thankful and grateful to everything they've done for me," said Reed. Tigers president and general manager Dave Dombrowski issued a statement after the dismissal Thursday, quote, "We are aware and happy for him and have no further comment," unquote. Tigers manager Brad Ausmus told reporters after today's game, quote, I don't know the circumstances surrounding the case, but I'm happy for Evan," unquote. Reed was on the Detroit Tigers roster at the time of the alleged incident, but is now with the AAA Toledo Mud Hens. There was a blog in between this content, all this content, a blog replay of the Evan Reed preliminary hearing. It's got a list of tweets, all by Robert Allen. You can follow him at RAllenMI. He is a breaking GA news writer for the Detroit Free Press. The Detroit Free Press. James Schmel states the Detroit Tigers franchise's side of the Evan Reed case on MLive.com. St. Petersburg, Florida, Detroit Tigers general manager Dave Dombrowski issued a brief statement Thursday regarding reliever Evan Reed after a judge dismissed all sexual assault charges against the 28-year-old minor league player. Reed was accused sexually assaulting a 45-year-old woman in a hotel room at the Motor City Casino in Detroit in late March. He faced 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, but both charges were dismissed Thursday afternoon. Dombrowski's statement, issued through a Tigers official, read as follows, quote, "We are aware and are happy for him and have no further comment," unquote. I'm not sure why Dave Dombrowski said he had no comment. They had no comment. Reed could have faced a sentence of 15 years if the case had gone to trial. Prosecutors will have the opportunity to appeal the finding of no probable cause, but a decision has not been made. When asked for comment following the Tigers' 1-0 loss in Tampa on Thursday, Tigers manager Brad Ausmus, he was happy for Reed. I already read Ausmus's quote. The Tigers designated Reed for assignment in June and outrighted his contract to AAA Toledo and the Mud Hens after he cleared waivers. He is not on the Tigers' 40-man roster and is considered a long shot to join the Tigers when rosters expand on September 1st. Reed has struggled since Reed has struggled since being demoted to Toledo. He is 0-1 with a 5.30 ERA and a 1.55 walks and hits per innings ratio, per innings pitch ratio in 15 games for the Hens. Toledo. So, that's pretty interesting news regarding Evan Reed. I think the Tigers might actually let Evan Reed go after their 2014 campaign is all said and done. Because he did so well before he was accused of such conduct, and now they and since he was designated, he was assigned to Toledo, he started falling apart. But they're giving him the rest of the season to improve and show why he should be in the Tigers bullpen on their roster. So that's it for episode 34 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. Back with episode 35 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker after Friday night's game in Minnesota. 8:10 on 1270 CBS Sports Radio, 1270 WXYT AM in Detroit. 97.1 The Ticket's sister station and the Detroit Tigers radio network. There are no other games going. Wait. The Lions are on 97.1 The Ticket, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7:30. 6:30 pregame. Dan Miller and Jim Brandstatter with the call on that one. Preseason game number 3 coming up at Ford Field against Denard Robinson, the Jacksonville Jaguars. TTFN, ta-ta for now.